Hi, she's Trixie and I'm Sarah, and this is Our Yarn World, a place where we come to share the love of yarn crafts and all that it gives us and what we hope it gives you. We're on episode 121, starting off the new year of 2024. I feel quite well.
Yeah.
Already.
Yeah.
And we have a lot to share with you today.
Oh, yeah. This whole table is just full of stuff. You can't see it, but we can. So, the first thing I want to say is I finished the, what is it called? Mandala blanket. And it is so pretty. Okay, let me unfold.
Excuse me. And
I should have had it unfolded. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Let me get out of the way.
So I started out with this small blue little ball of it, and then I went to my next skein, and it was all these teals and browns and whites and seafoam and grays and blacks. And then I started the next ball, and it was cream and white, pinks, browns, and it went down into the tans, and that's where we ended. And this is all I had left. I was playing yarn chicken for the last couple of rows on this because it was like, oh, do I have enough to go back? And I did. And then I tried it again.
I guess it like barely fits in the palm.
Right.
It fits, but it's small.
And I did it one more time, and I thought, there's just no way I'm going to get across on this last one. So this is all that I had left out of all that. And this is probably how much I had to start with. Well, maybe a little bit more. Maybe a little bit more to start out with that little blue section that I started out with right here. But, so that's where we're at with that. And this Sunday, because this is Wednesday.
We're filming.
Yes. This Sunday, I will be giving it to a woman at church who is in a wheelchair, who has no idea it's coming. And when we talk about the scripture, the scripture goes right along with how I'm giving this to her, just as a surprise and with no knowledge beforehand. But I started another blanket, and this blanket is going to be very colorful. And it's not mandala this time, so I'm putting colors together myself. So it's, how do I start this? I started out with just white. It's a 4-ply. It's white. I did a 5mm hook and a half, not half double crochet this time. Double crochet, not half. And that one is called Moon Glow, and it's an older brand. It's called Fisherman, and I am using it because I got it from a thrift store, and I had 2 of them. So I'm going to start the blanket with it, and I'm going to end the blanket with it. In between, now I have these 2 colors, and these 2 colors are full skeins that I just balled up. And my friend Jane, when she texted me for New Year's Eve, she's like, what you doing to celebrate? And I said, I'm balling up my yarn, and that's what I was doing. I said, that makes me happy. So it's Red Heart Super Saver. Let's see. This one is Delft Blue. And I paid $1 at the thrift store for a full skein of this Red Heart Super Saver yarn. And the second one I also paid $1 for, and it's called Light Mint. And I think those will go really well together. Now, I had this in my stash. You've probably seen it before. I've had it before. I've made blankets with it before. But it's got all these colors in it. And the blue's in there, the light mint is in there. There's pink. I've got the pink. And I know that there's not purple in here, there's yellow, but I don't have yellow, but I do have purple.
I might have a yellow you can have if you want it.
So Sarah's saying that she might have a yellow, and I'm you know.
We're not that far ahead, so you could make a transition if you wanted to.
So but I'm gonna put it all together. I think what I'd like to do is the whites on either end, and this mixture in the middle, and then all the colors flowing out from the middle to to the ends, having the solid colors. That's what's in my mind right now. So we'll see how that all turns out. But
it's clever to use a variegate as the a quick changing yarn as the blueprint for getting solid colors out of your stash.
Yes.
If you want a way of maybe having a themed stash buster, possibly going and buying a variegate of colors that you have in your stash that you don't know how to put together in any other way, that variegate might pull it together, and all of a sudden green, orange, purple, blue makes sense because that variegate has them all in there, and you can get a whole bunch of stuff done.
And that's the idea that a lot of people can use to, especially if they don't trust themselves to put color together. If you can get a variegated that you really like and you have those colors in your stash, go ahead and use them. And that's kind of that's kind of what we've done over the years. And so, and it's not, this is kind of a speckled variegated.
I think it was called ice cream.
Yeah, very lovely colors. I'm drawn to these kind of colors myself. So yeah, it's really, really pretty. So what are you working on now?
Well, so last week when I was on camera, only a couple days before on Christmas Day, I had started working on my Bowser project for my son. His birthday follows Christmas pretty quick. And so it's one of those things where if there's something, that kind of wasn't under the tree, it might be because it's in his birthday pile. But in this case, it was, I had made that Mario, Luigi, and Toad, which, unbeknownst to everybody, if I said that in the correct way, if not, forgive me, has not made an appearance again this week because I completely forgot. But
to bring them.
I think next week might be a winner because this should be done and you'll see how far I've come. Because last week when I showed you, I only had a handful of the face pieces done.
In a little Ziploc bag.
In a little Ziploc bag. Over 100 pieces later. And I'm not exaggerating. I counted them.
Yeah.
I counted how many pieces they asked you to make on the pattern, and that was 106. I got them done. And individual pieces. And I ended up making more because I realized that the way that I wanted to make Bowser required more pieces and more detail. I had made them spontaneously and some with the guidance of the idea of what the already schematic pattern already had in place, and I had to apply some of the strategies of the already pre-existing pattern to how I wanted to apply the outcome of my Bowser. And as I've been working on it, I realized that some of the pieces are not going to be big enough. So I already have to rechange some of the pieces to how I have changed the project, or unknowingly how my interpretation of what they were saying did not turn out. I don't know. So anyway, that being said, I am tired. My family has been on Christmas vacation this last week, which is not something that every single family gets to have over the holidays. And I understand that that is kind of a privilege I was able to just have as a given, and I'm very grateful. It was kind of weird to have such cabin fever stuck in the house with everybody when everyone kind of has their own routines throughout the normal work week or school week or whatever. But, we got through it, and it wasn't that it wasn't without some fun adventures. We were able to go visit some friends. We ended up going to IHOP together as a family one night randomly.
That's fun.
We did some fun things. I learned some fun things about my kids. Being able to be in touch with them a little bit more in a concentrated time. It was fun. But one of the things that my son said was that after he received his the homemade Christmas presents I made of the Mario, Luigi, and the Toad, was, "Where's Bowser?" That was the first thing that actually came out of his mouth after he ripped open those gifts. Now, for context, my son is 3. He's turning 4 next week, literally in a week. And here's the thing. I was not upset by that. Now, his dad... I don't know if I told you this, Mom, but the first thing that came out of James's mouth was, "Don't disrespect your mom. She just did all that time to make those gifts. You will be appreciative of them." And I understood what Kenya was saying. I didn't take that wrong. In his mind, it was an incomplete set.
Yeah.
Not that he wasn't excited about what he got, but James was trying to make sure that he said thank you to me and not just looked at what he didn't have. But here's the thing. Luckily, by the grace of some of the other creators online, just like the Mario and Luigi that was made as a possible free pattern by Linda Potts on Ravelry, Shelly, I don't know how to say the last name, so I'll just spell it Hedko. That's the last name. Made a pattern that is free to be able to buy without having to buy anything on a Bowser, which is the bad guy in the Mario universe in Nintendo. Now, here's the thing. Like I said, I only had a couple of the pieces done. 100 pieces later, and I'm already working on more than that, and I'm assembling it. And let me tell you, that has not been easy. I have been talking to the channel about my hands, my journey with my hands, dealing with a re-flare of eczema that I have not really experienced since I was a child in this way. I've been having band-aids all over my hands for months now. Mm-hmm. And I've been being treated as if they were burns until we were able to confirm that I was eczema, and there's really not too much that can be done. Not that there isn't eczema treatments, but because mine seems to be seasonal, but it's hitting me super hard. And with it being an autoimmune thing, I think I don't know, I think it might have been a possible result of when I was off that 1 month over August and being down with bronchitis as hard as I was, might have just hit my immune system the way that did, that sending me into the colder season, I just was bound to have a side effect, and this reoccurred. This was how my body dealt with that.
Right.
That's an assumption. Not saying that that's true, but it's kind of just how, you kind of think through what possibly could have happened.
Yeah.
Because it just hits so randomly and so hard, and I'm not used to this level of discomfort.
It knocked your immune system down.
Out of whack. So, with that being said, it hit me, but I've been dealing with other side effects. And I was discussing them with my mom over the ride of the car coming here. Over New Year's Eve, when you were rolling the balls of yarn, my husband already knew of a party that he was going to go to and then come back to me about the last hour countdown. I was not upset about that. I was going to work on the project. I have no problem when he goes out. The kids were in bed. I was going to be fine. I was going to work on my project, chill. It was all good. And it was kind of like our plan. We were like, okay, you're able to go to a party. They're not old enough to go to anything yet. My kids are young, but I already have a set thing that I'm working on and I'm zeroing in on my countdown, getting ready for my son's birthday. It's all works. You know, my husband doesn't have to worry about going to work the next day. He can actually enjoy going to see friends. That's great for him. Like,
Yeah.
it's a really good time. During nap time, us trying to recuperate, us trying to get ready for our evening, I look down and me and whatever has been getting ready, getting all these projects done, and I had slept weird the night before because I had a little buddy come sleep with me because he's not been feeling good. And he slammed up into my side in a really weird position, and that had me at a weird angle with my arms. I could physically feel the weight of my head. The tip of my spine at the base of my skull, all the way down to about the middle of my back, across both shoulder blades, and all around my neck, wrapping around, my muscles locked. It was painful. It was physically painful to support my head or move my head. And my shoulder blades, to even flex them or do anything, caused actual pain. Like, I was nervous that it could actually hurt them. Mm-hmm. Like, if I put weight on them, I was scared that they were not going to respond well. I was scared of injury. I didn't know what had happened. The only thing I can think of is, on top of sleeping awkwardly, I've been looking down, working on my projects like you normally do. And I think that weight pulled forward with my head being down like this for weeks, working on my projects as intensely as I've been doing. My body fatigued. And I think it just resulted in my muscles all at once locking up. Mm-hmm. Now, in a spur of irony, when my mother-in-law took both of my kids independently shopping so that they could buy Christmas gifts for both me and my husband, but for the sibling so that they had ability to be able to do their own Christmas shopping, which was so sweet of her to do that with them. Daniel had bought me and James, I don't know why he did, but my mother-in-law said that he refused to buy us anything less. When he zoned in on that, that was all that he wanted for us. And he actually wanted both of us to have one, but I don't know what the price of it was, but she said that we could share. It kind of resembles the same principles as a rice sock. But what it was is that it was this neck and shoulder kind of like therapy aroma weighted garment that had essential beads in them, so you could smell the oil, the essential oils.
What was the scent?
I think it was some version of a lavender, but you could tell that there was other scents in it, like much more
calming.
Yes, but you could tell that it had like the sharpness of it being essential oil scents,
right.
Like where it's like that very direct and potent smell.
Right.
But they're like beads, and this thing wraps as a high collar, kind of swoops down in between the shoulder blades, but it wraps also down, and it's all weighted. All of it has some level of those beads being inside of it, and like I said, and it was like a velvety exterior. Ooh. And you can put the stuff on the inside, the beads or whatever it is, it can be removed, and you can put it you can warm them up, to release them, or you can put them in the freezer to make them colder, so that it can be two different versions of like the aromatherapy to whatever you need to help relax you.
Right.
I thought about that randomly. Like, my neck is heavy, like my head felt heavy on my neck. I was getting really disoriented. I was not feeling good. I felt like I'd been hit by a bus, and it hit me like within a minute, like me looking down, and all of a sudden all my muscles locking up all at once, and it wasn't letting go. It was been out an hour now, and I'm like, I don't know what just happened. I feel nauseous. I don't like this feeling. And I knew that if the kids went to bed, I was still going to be okay, like, for James to leave. It was one of those, like, I still felt safe, but it was one of those, I didn't know what had happened. Now, remembering that gift, I pulled it out of the box, and I didn't even put it in any sort of extreme temperature to try to release the beads. I just wanted something around my neck that would help me hold my head without feeling weird. Like, if I wanted to lean into something, I had the ability of kind of like doing that without having to worry that my neck had to do all the supporting. And that's all I was thinking of. It's like having something on my neck that would be there, that wasn't just a neck pillow, because I didn't have one, but it was kind of like, it was going to be stiffer. It was going to be something that held form a little bit more, and I could kind of lean my head on it while I was standing up or something, so my head wasn't fully supported on my neck.
Right.
But what I didn't know was that after about 2 hours of wearing it, whatever, I could just feel those beads. And what was weird was that where my skin was exposed to it, I could feel it being really cool, and I could feel tingling. Now, they were in something on top of the velvet cover case that it was on. I don't know what it was doing, but when you're smelling it and everything, all of a sudden in the area where it was, all those specific muscles after 2 hours finally unclenched. They finally relaxed. Now, there was other blades and stuff that didn't touch that I could still feel.
Right.
I can still feel them kind of. But it was one of those things where it's like I finally felt them let go. I was like, I don't know how Daniel knew that I needed that, but it was one of those, like, I'm so grateful that was that random gift that me and James were just like, oh, thank you, buddy. We definitely wanted this, just be grateful to his thoughtfulness. And it really actually coming in handy. My little 3-year-old didn't realize that the gifts I've been making him was going to cause a crank in my neck. And all of a sudden, he had already provided me a gift for it at random.
That's fun.
Yeah, it was, I've just had to come to realize that, and I'm not trying to say that I'm old, just much more of the wear and tear that a hobby can have on you without realizing that you have to move. You have to stretch. You have to prepare your body for what you're doing or take breaks.
Right.
I sometimes forget that.
Right.
When I get in a groove, I don't want to move. And then I'm sitting there and my legs get go to sleep, or I feel my back starting to kink. And I've been having to have James crack my back more often recently because I've been at a weird angle.
Right.
And it's...
Our friend Roxanne, she quilts, and when she gets in a zone where she's not been thinking about her muscles or anything like that, she can get locked up like that too, or get very sore. And she used to have to go to massage therapist to get her muscles to let go because and she was grateful that she knew this person to be able to do that with.
Right.
So yeah, I totally get what you're saying, because it's just like I've heard that before.
Well,
so
another quick example before I show you where I'm at with the project is when I was in band. I have been playing my instrument for almost a decade at that point, and I'm a senior now, and it's been a very fun long journey of my music career up until that point. I was really enjoying it. Now, I am having no diss or any disrespect to any of my teachers up until this point,
right,
because none of them did anything wrong. I recognize that I had a very unique take as to how I learned to play the flute.
right.
and how that came to be is not how everyone learns how to play an instrument.
Right.
And so I'm not upset. It was just one of those, like, I'll say the story and then you'll understand. Senior year, I'm in my last stretch. I'm realizing I might not be, this will probably be one of my last opportunities to really actually enjoy playing with a group because I wasn't sure what I was doing after school. And in my senior class, they had a concert musicianist come and talk to us if any of us wanted to take music seriously and further past as a career. And they just had random tips and tricks for each section. If I do believe, like, instruments that did not have to use air, to ones that were woodwind, or ones that were brass, or ones that were this, or ones that were that. But one of the things they said was, don't forget about your hands. And I was thinking, what are you talking about? And they said, if you don't exercise your hands will fatigue because your fingers are supporting all the weight of your instrument, especially in some cases, and doing all of the motion, and they can fatigue.
Wow.
Now, up until that point, I had actually had problems with my hands, and I had not known I didn't know how to place why they were fatiguing. I did not correlate it to my flute playing.
Right.
Even though it was happening when I was playing my flute.
Okay.
My pinkies were giving out. I actually had where I wasn't feeling them. And then I would stretch out my hands to be able to get a very specific position to be able to hit certain chords. And I'd feel my hands go out. Now, I have been going from marching band right into concert season, into competition season, into marching band, and then back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And I thought that was normal. Again, I didn't know that I was supposed to be doing anything to keep myself in tune. I just thought I had to take care of my instrument. I didn't think I had to do anything for me.
Right.
And, my hands have been giving out. And I had my ability to hold my air for long stretches was not as it was supposed to be for my instrument. And so my ability to hold air for as long as I was supposed to, I had not accustomed to practicing it in some of the ways that some of my other friends had. So the way that I did certain things would have me out of breath quicker than long stretches for them. Granted, I still was able to play. I didn't pass out or anything, but it was one of those things where it's like I could see differences. That how I had been taught or how I had interpreted my teaching into how I performed, because I got what they wanted out, they never questioned how I got there. And so I was never challenged to try better, or no one had studied how I was doing it as close enough to see that I could have been doing it in a way that wasn't going to exhaust me as quickly. But I didn't even start stepping into that curiosity until my senior year, when it was going to be my last time doing it. And my hands were tired. Like, my hands were tired all the time. My pinkies were so exhausted to the point where I was losing feeling in them because I didn't realize I had not been doing the hands exercises that person said, before you do any performance, you are to do this, and this to make sure your body is ready for the performance.
Wow.
And I was like, I thought you're supposed to warm up your instrument, not yourself. And I didn't, because no one had taught me that I was my instrument's instrument.
Right.
I had to be in tune just as much as that had to be in tune.
Seems like they would have taught that.
It's okay. Like, in the end, I'm not mad, because it's kind of one of those things that now I apply to a lot of different things that I don't take a lot of time for, like this. I don't always think, oh, I need to get myself warmed up. I just go into it. And now it's kind of like a lesson in retrospect of, like, now when I'm getting ready, I'm kind of now much more like, I should probably put a pillow behind my back. I probably should realize I might need to stretch my hands out. I might need to move. Okay, I've been in this position long enough, and I actually now stand up. I'll even lay on my ground in the middle of my living room and just literally lay on my back flat and stretch out as far as I can to try to straighten my spine. Like, I now do more things because I want to be able to do my craft as long as possible. And I realize that if this starts wearing on me now and I don't do anything about it,
Right.
I could lose the ability to have the enjoyment about this long term if I don't start taking preventative measures to strengthen myself and take care and be able to be in the harmony of the dance of, if I'm doing this, I have to take a break to strengthen my ability to do it along the way. Otherwise, it could fatigue me, and I don't even realize that. I don't want to have arthritis when I'm older. I don't want to have those sort of things. I want to be able to enjoy this craft all my life.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where it's like, now I have to take more effort, and there's those things that you think about in retrospect, like that learning the things about my instrument.
Yeah.
I didn't learn until the last year I was playing it, and my body was already so fatigued by playing it wrong.
Right. Right.
It's just one of those things.
You don't know what you don't know.
Yeah. But with all that said, I did just, over the course of just this Christmas break, having the ability to just have my family around me and just be able to enjoy the time that I had to craft, when I did, I just took time and just kept looking at my pattern. Every single time I had a couple minutes. Oh, I can make these fingers right now. Oh, I can make these spikes right now. Oh, I can get this stuff done right now. And I'd do it in spurts. And then when I had the long stretches, of course, I'd do long stretches. But I always wanted to do things in sets. That's a big thing.
Yeah.
And I did not want to go off my path of what was in what order with the pattern because I didn't want to forget something.
Right.
So I did it as the pieces were said to be made on the pattern. And they kind of were more or less at random, to be fair. It wasn't like you were making everything but the head or everything but this or anything but that. They just kind of presented themselves when they were on the pattern, which is fine. But like, it's like making the spikes for the shell, 10. Make 10 of these. And I was like, I'm not going to stop until all 10 are made.
Right.
Because I don't want to forget that I've not made one.
Right.
Like, I want them all made. And I had Ziploc bags for every single section, for every single item. And I kind of categorized it by arms. So arms had the armbands, and they had the spikes for the armbands. Maybe. Yeah, they do now. And like all the fingers and all the nails, and then the legs had their stuff, the feet and the toes and all that stuff would be in that bag. For the shell, I would have the ring around the shell, and now I'm working on the shell portion with all the spikes on it. And so like I'd have all the pieces. Now, had I stuffed them? Had I assembled them yet? No, I was just making sure that they were all there. And so don't underestimate the ability of a Ziploc bag and what that can do for you, not just for snacks.
Oh, I'm so glad I swallowed that before you said that.
But here's the thing. When you're making a character as detailed as this character, for only being a foot high, having over 100 pieces in assembly, and then your pattern doesn't have an assembly section. So I already knew this about the pattern because 3 years ago when we first started the channel, I made this pattern, and I did it for my nephew, and great learning experience for me. This 3 years in the future, making it for my son's completely different experience. Now I am still on the rush timeline. I have a week to still get this done, but there is a level of confidence that I have in my abilities now, and I made sure I did every single detail. With my nephews, I was on a crunch timeline, and I wasn't able to do every single detail. So like the teeth and the nails and the stuff I did with felt triangles, because I didn't have time to create every single one of the
he still appreciated it though.
Oh, I'm sure, and I know he did. But even like with this, I made all these now, and it just has a different look to it. Yeah. And I'm not trying to I don't want to ever make it sound like I put more detail into nails than I did my nephew's.
It's just 3 more years of experience now.
3 more years of experience. I had more time.
Yeah.
I also, and what's crazy is that it took a long time, it felt like, to get all those pieces done.
Oh, I bet.
Last time. This time, it was within less than a week and I got all the pieces done.
Wow.
But I was more experienced. I also didn't do it all the ways that they said to do it on the pattern. When they said did a magic ring, some of the things I was like, I can't do it in a magic ring. That's going to be too tight for how I cast on. So I'm going to do the 2-chain method. I changed for how my tightness was, and it made a world of difference for me to get things done.
There you
like,
go.
there's things like that I didn't know about myself back then.
Right.
That made
that's
certain
true.
things possible.
Yeah.
It's just, Anyway.
It's just more fun that way.
Now, not all the details are done on the face. I will say this. The face is the hardest part of this project. Some things that are on the rest of the body are details, and they're hard to get done. But this probably has the most parts for being the smallest, like one of the smallest details. So I got this guy. Now you can see some of the pins. I don't have his eyebrows fully on, and he actually has a double set of eyebrows that are not pinned on yet. These are felt. These are felt eyes. I had to eyeball these. This, like I said, this pattern does not come with how to assemble really. They have a brief overview as to how to assemble the jaw. Everything else is supposed to be by looking at the photos that they provide alone, and they don't really have a good 360 photo view. They really said that if you had any questions, let's look up a photo of Bowser and really just try to have at it. All the pieces should be there.
Wow.
Now, I'm not mad at this person. The reality is that they already put all the brain power into even formulating the size and all the pieces. If you were able to do that, you should be able to do the rest of it if you know this character well enough. If you're not someone who knows this character and you're making it for a loved one, possibly either having them there or another person that knows the character would be a very good tool to being able to really understand how this character looks. I added more details inside the mouth because they didn't really have any sort of get-go as to how to do that. Everything is crocheted on this except for the eyes. And it is big. I was telling my husband, I feel like this is like some weird Hamlet. This is his body portion. Obviously, he doesn't have his choker on or anything, but kind of a scale. If you want to hold these two pieces, I'll kind of give a scale as to what he'll look like when I have the legs on him. He is going to be big. They estimated that, and I used bigger hook size on him. So yeah, he's gonna be
a big boy.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's not including his back piece, which is going to have the big shell on it.
Wow.
And he has the arms that are going to be protruding outward, coming in. His arms have all the...
Wow.
You didn't see that.
Yeah, I just noticed.
Did
Oh
you
my
have
gosh.
one?
A claw.
The claw.
Wow. Look at the detail on this.
Yeah, putting the nails on the fingers were not...
Wow.
So yeah, it looks like you're holding hands. Look there, yeah. So yeah,
It's fun.
And
oh my gosh.
and then I have to do all his bracelets because he has bracelets. And I have to put all the spikes on the bracelets, which are all these. I know you can't see them, but they are magic rings of 4 chains. They're these little dots that I have to place.
Okay, all right. So they look like studs.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And there's 5 on each one of the bracelets, and he has 2 bracelets, one on his forearm and his bicep, and he has a choker that's on his other side that is really the only thing that really qualifies as a neck, but you only have to put the studs on the front because the shell will be covering the back of him.
Right.
So it's like you have to make 25 of these studs, so it's like 5, 5, 5, 5, and then the 5 that you see in the front.
Okay.
Here's my problem. When I made him last time, now there's only very vague memories that I have with that, but he was able to stand on his own because he was so big, and his
Didn't
legs.
he have a big old tail too?
But that's exactly where I'm getting. I had these legs, right? That would be the 2 legs of like a 3-legged chair. He needs something to counterbalance him.
Yeah.
This is a reptilian character of sorts. It's supposed to be like a turtle dragon. That's really what he's supposed to be.
Okay.
He does breathe fire in the game, so it's kind of like a turtle dragon. That's why he has spikes on his shell and stuff.
Right,
and he's
right.
just grumbly old character. See how big his legs are? How chunky they are? Nothing wrong with that. Kind of reminds me of like an alligator. This is how small they asked me to make the tail.
That ain't gonna do it.
I already have to change the pattern.
Yeah.
I already have to curve the tail up and then back towards his bottom, because here's the thing.
Yeah, because
That's not going to work.
Noah's was a lot bigger.
Yep. If you can see that tail's not going to counterbalance him.
No.
And the shell is not supposed to hit the ground. The shell, if you can... I don't want to put the pins in him yet. But even with the legs right here... Good Lord. Here, I'll just do one leg. Even with the one leg to show the length of him, and I just used the ring of the outer part of the shell, it would only be to about there.
Okay.
So it's only supposed to support the back of him and to the tip of his tail. It's not supposed to be more.
Right.
So there's a lot to navigate still here.
Right.
Now, I would say, got the legs done. His arms are assembled besides getting the bracelets on. Both of them are. All the pieces are made. So, legs and arms. His tail, sorta. I'm going to have to possibly change the pattern on the tail. His body, his head is definitely quite there, but I still have a lot to still finish on him. I have to sew the eyes on. They're held on with just some needles.
Which she doesn't want going into the pattern.
Into the head.
Yeah.
So the felt that I'm using to do the eyes, pins are too big to hold it down without leaving holes. The only thing that will hold them it on for me right now are just some regular sewing needles. So I don't want them to get lost inside the head by getting pushed in. And like I said, he has a double eyebrow, so like you have these and then you have like these little things that come out to kind of emphasize his eyebrows. So I still have to sew those on. Everything else is sewed on besides the eyes and the eyebrows. So there's that, and then like I said, besides the jewelry and the neck and the collar and that stuff, there is the shell that I still have to get this thing because I have to get the rest of the spikes on, and then get it to the round, and then like I did with the horns where I accented it with that little strip around it at the base where the horn is connected to his head. I'm going to be doing that with every single one of these spikes with this burnt orange. His hair was supposed to be the burnt orange, but I decided to make it red because I was supposed to be like a forest green, and I decided to go with the green that I had, so I decided a little bit brighter of a hair color would work with the brighter green.
Yeah.
And then I'd use the burnt orange for like different details for his body, so like so it would still separate and still be present but in its own way.
Yeah.
So I still have to do the details around every single one of the horns or the spikes. Still have to get that assembled. literally the next time we film will be my son's birthday.
Yeah.
This will have to be done by then. I would say that since last week, I've definitely made progress.
Yes.
I can't say that after just having a couple pieces of his face done that this isn't definitely
This is really
far along.
remarkable.
Yeah, I've hyperfixated just a bit. Just a bit. Don't, you know. I will say it's fun to have a good audiobook and some good YouTuber during all this, and staying up until 1, 2 o'clock in the morning doesn't help either. It doesn't, bother getting things done either when that's your time alone. You get things done.
Right. So I'm going to go on to the scripture real quick because, okay, what?
One other thing, and then I'll let this be so we can do the scripture because it's a good one. My son didn't just say Bowser. He said he needed Goombas, Koopa Troopers, and
Princess Peach.
Princess Peach. He wants Princess Peach. He keeps saying that most of all. I need Bowser and Princess Peach. Now here's the thing. I have the scale that is the Mario and Luigi that I've made because of the other pattern, and they are remarkably in a perfect scale to what this Bowser is, which is like remarkable that these two creators end up making a very specific scale for their characters and then end up being like perfectly aligned with their separate patterns being the right scale for each character.
Right.
But Princess, so like Luigi's bigger than Mario, and that's what that one creator did, made sure that he was slightly bigger. But Princess Peach is like a half a head higher than Luigi.
Oh no.
She's taller than both of the guys.
Oh gosh.
I have no pattern. So just like with Toad, guess what I get to do a marathon after I get this done, hopefully before next Wednesday.
I'm so glad you're happy about that.
Because my son needs both Princess Peach and Bowser to finish his collection outside of all the side characters that he wants too. Like a Goomba and, the Spike Tops and Koopa Troopers and all that
You
stuff.
have all year.
Yeah. By the way, I've considered getting like clay pots and painted them to look like the pipes.
Oh.
And placing them on his wall so he has places to put his toys.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. That's so cool. But before we run out of time.
Yes, I'm so sorry. I just keep talking.
Okay, so our scripture today is, do not withhold good from those to whom it is due, when it is in your power to do it. Do not withhold good from those to whom it is due, when it is in your power to do it.
I like that.
That's Proverbs 3:27. I believe that was the New King James, but I'm not sure. The blanket, the Mandela blanket that I've been working on, I'm going to be giving to a friend at church. And like I said earlier, she doesn't know what's coming, but I feel like I've got something to give, and to whom it is due. She came into my mind when I was at church, and it was just like, yep, that's the person now. And so
You've always had that, though.
yeah. So I feel this scripture very much. Do not withhold good from those to whom it is due, when it is in your power to do it. It is in my power. I have a talent for making these blankets that I want to pass on to her. And who knows, she may do this kind of stuff at home. I'm not sure. I don't know very much about her. All I do know is that when I went to greet her, her hands were freezing and she said she was cold. And as soon as she said that, I knew that this blanket had to go to her. And so, and I said something like, you need a blanket. And she's like, you need a blanket for your lap. And she said, if I get one, it's probably going to go over my shoulders. And I'm like, ooh. So it was just an inkling of an idea, and I was off to the races, and this is what it's going to be now. And on Sunday, I get to give it to her, and I'm so happy about that. I won't have any film of it, but I can hopefully tell you how the experience went when we're meeting up next week. So, would you like to?
There is something about how that verse is said so eloquently. My speech is not great today. I'm so sorry. But do not withhold good from those to whom it is due when it is in your power to do it. It is just one of those things where it's like, if you have, it's like having good news. If you have it, don't hold it from somebody who really needs to hear it.
True.
And it's not, it's not about making yourself the first person character in a story or anything. It's one of those things where it's like, if you got something that can make make the world to somebody else in small ways of showing them that you see them and you want to give them some, validation, recognition, put a smile on their face, whatever it is. I mean, this really...
Just let them know that you're thinking about them.
Whatever good translates to.
Yeah.
Because it is very ambiguous to every single scenario, and it can be applied in so many different ways. There's so much that can just be said about just... If you have the ability, or you know it is your place to be the messenger in some way, the agent in some form to get something from point A to point B for somebody else, and be that almost that tool to get that job done. Don't be happy about it.
Yeah.
And that's not trying to be... That's not me trying to simplify what that experience might be for the person doing it, but there is something about the joy of being able to be that for other people that I've always had, and I don't know if that might not be...
She's doing it right now.
And that's not me trying to say that that's everyone, because I know that there's some people that have been genuinely burnt out and hurt by people, that have genuinely looked out for people their whole entire lives, and those people walked all over them and did not value them for the being the ray of sunshine that they were.
Right.
And it burnt out these people that were genuinely light in in these people's lives, and it creates almost this ill-at-ease feeling to try to be happy around people when it feels like it comes at a cost to almost be yourself, when one of the characters of yourself is to be a giver. And so I am not trying to downplay people's journeys in that regard, because if you've had any sort of trouble regarding that is nothing to sneeze at if you've been hurt by people. But what I am to say is that if you have the ability, and most of the time it causes a great amount of joy to be able to have this opportunity to be able to be almost a tool in the making of someone else's happiness, is one of the funnest things. Is a driving force to be able to know that you're able to make something or do something that is just going to be just the right thing. It's like having that gut feeling when you're in the drive-thru that someone would really enjoy a coffee, and so you just pick up an extra one, which is only a couple bucks for you, but when you walk in and you put that on their desk, and it's like that's exactly what they needed.
Yeah.
That little bit of liquid joy gave them the push that you might not realize that they needed the rest of that day.
Just like Canyo getting that thing that you needed without even knowing it.
Or her just mentioning, or you just observing something that anyone else that she greeted might just been like, oh, she's too close to the door. Just acknowledged it as a frame of mind of logic. She is a greeter. She's by the door. She might be cold.
Right.
She could have prepared herself and put a blanket on herself, and in your mind it's like, I do this for a living. Let's do this. And let's fill the need. And I don't know.
See a
When-
need, fill a need.
Yeah, it's that whole thing from Robots.
Yeah.
It's the whole, when you see something and you know that you can, why not?
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially when it's in a form like this. This is not an arrogant thing. This is not being like, oh, I am that person that's able to fix everything.
No.
Not being that arrogant person. It's when you know that what you're able to do could really help someone. If it is making a meal for a friend that's been really bogged down by work, and going home every single day and having a good meal for their family has been an extra struggle, and you just being like, oh, well, I could drop off something for you.
Right,
That's
I've got
fine.
time.
Like, it's those small things that go such a long way. It doesn't have to be big. It's even just being like, oh, your spouse has to wake up early in the morning, but their car's on E. I could drive and go get you gas tonight after put the kids to bed. That way you don't have to worry about it in the morning. It's the small things. It's I have the energy to do the extra mile that they don't have the energy for, and I would like to use my energy to help fill that gap.
Exactly.
It's
so fun. It's so fun.
I love those
Be
moments.
the good.
It's just so much fun to do that stuff. I don't know why, but I've always been like, it's almost like a high when you see those things and you're like, yes!
Me too. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, tell your friends, subscribe, and
next week we're gonna have possibly a lot of things to share. I know that before the end of January I would like to have some sort of a, hey, let's wrap up what 2023 was for us with projects.
Yeah.
Let's look at what some of the things that we would like to do in 2024,
Right.
and kind of plan out what we might do with this channel in 2024.
There you go.
So look forward to that. Look forward to what we have to share regarding her ice cream blanket and what we're doing with all these toys. And we hope to see you next week. I know this was a long one, but thank you for watching, and we hope that you have a good rest of your week. And as always, we hope that you stitch your way
to mental health.